For Network Africa, the UN warns that large numbers of children are still risking their lives to make the dangerous journey from Libya to Italy. Islamists launch an attack on 2 police posts in Burkina Faso. An Egyptian teenager seeks to warn young school students and teachers about the dangers of bullying. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Temitope Fagbemi. We begin in North Africa, where despite all attempts to stop migrants from crossing the Mediterranean Sea, the United Nations says that large numbers of children are still risking their lives to make the dangerous journey from Libya to Italy. According to UNICEF, almost 26,000 children, most of them unaccompanied, crossed the Mediterranean last year. UNICEF's latest report, A Deadly Journey for Children, documents stories of slavery, violence and sexual abuse experienced by huge numbers of vulnerable children, making their perilous journey to Italy. But the agency says the children rarely report the abuse for fear of arrest and deportation. UNICEF also says there is a lack of food, water and medical care in Libya's detention centers. In West Africa, joint patrols have begun securing northern Mali in a bid to curb violence after a suicide attack in a military camp left 77 people dead. The patrols brings together the regular army and former warring factions with support from France's Operation Barkhane.
Malian soldiers staged their first joint patrol on Thursday with rival armed groups in the town of Gao, where Islamic militants killed over 77 people last month in the deadliest of such attacks in the country's history. The long-awaited patrol is part of an initiative aimed at easing local tensions so that government forces can focus on fighting the militants. More of such patrols are due over the next few weeks under the terms of a 2015 UN-brokered peace deal, one of which was the formation of the Operational Coordination Mechanism, bringing together Tuareg rebels and pro-government militias.
The vehicles of the first patrol moved along the streets of Gao, so it was an opportunity for us to remind the fighters and MOC soldiers of the importance of the joint patrols in the peace process, notably participation in securing the city of Gao and contributing to a sense of security amongst the population.
Hundreds of soldiers from Mali's army, France's Operation Barkhane, the UN peacekeeping mission, the Tuareg separatist coordination of Azawad movements and pro-government militias took part in the patrol. They moved through the town on foot and in pickup trucks, starting around 9:45 a.m. on a roughly 7-kilometer route, and met no resistance.
This is a great step forward in the peace process, with the MOC putting in a lot of efforts to successfully create the first official joint patrol in Gao. Today is the greatest day for the success of peace, for Mali in general, but for the north of Mali in particular. I'm very overwhelmed by today's event, and I'm extremely delighted.
The January 18 attack in Gao, claimed by Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, shows the difficulty faced by the government and international peacekeepers in combating militant Islamist groups, some with links to Al-Qaeda, based in the desert north. Gao is a town of 50,000 people on the banks of the Niger River, where the offices of the 13,000-strong UN mission in Mali, MINUSMA, were flattened by a truck bomb in December. A French-led military intervention in 2013 pushed insurgent groups back from northern Mali, a vast desert area they had taken the year before, but Islamist militants still conduct frequent attacks there.
Here in Nigeria, the federal government has taken the fight to reduce illegalities on Nigeria's waters to another level by the commissioning of Falcon Eye, Eastern Regional Control Center in Cross River State, for over-the-horizon maritime surveillance from defection to intervention. The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ekwe Ibas, reiterated government's position while officially commissioning the environment protection infrastructure alongside other security chiefs as well as the Cross River State Governor, Ben Ayade.
To reduce crude oil theft, kidnapping and smuggling in Nigeria's waterways, Operation Falcon Eye has been launched by the Nigerian Navy in Calabar, Cross River State, to give total coverage of the country's maritime space. Harping on the need to develop effective capacity for maritime awareness and response capabilities among security agencies, the Navy boss explains the scope of this new operation.
You do not need to be out there to be able to see what is happening. So that has now made it possible for us to have a clear picture of what is happening in the maritime space. We have 3 of such facilities, one here in Calabar that covers the eastern flank. We have one in the Central Naval Command that covers the Niger Delta area in particular.
While the Cross River State Governor Ben Ayade believes the project couldn't have come at a better time.
The maritime remains one critical domain that we are focusing on. Therefore, as we ramp up our maritime activities, incidentally, security will be a critical factor for the success of our projects. Falcon Eye, therefore, comes at a critical time of our life, at the time that Cross River will be wholly dependent on its maritime corridor.
Then the project manager of the Falcon Eye sheds more light on its operational capabilities.
This center is connected to the main command center in Abuja that will be fitted with a live intelligence that will help and support the Eastern Naval Command to take action, to analyze and to make assessments of the threats that characteristic the area.
With this system of effective integrated surveillance and monitoring, expectations are high that illegal activities in the country's waterways will now be reduced.
In Burkina Faso, reports say terrorists have launched an attack on 2 police posts in the country just months after 12 soldiers were killed by militants in a raid near the Mali border. It is, however, unclear if there were any casualties from the latest attack, which took place in Sum province in the country's north. The incident comes as the capital, Ouagadougou, is on high alert as it hosts the 25th edition of FESPACO, Africa's biggest film festival, which takes place every 2 years. A British coroner has criticized the police response to a terror attack at a Tunisian resort in which 30 Britons were killed in 2015. Judge Nicholas Lawrence Smith says the police response was at best shambolic and at worst cowardly. In all, 38 people were killed when an Islamist gunman opened fire at a hotel in Sousse on June 26, 2015. The judge, who says that the gunman had been intent on killing as many tourists as occurred, ruled that all 30 Britons were unlawfully killed. He added that he has not found a direct and causal link between the response of armed forces in the area and the deaths. Families had wanted the coroner to consider whether neglect by holiday firm TUI or the hotel owners was a factor in their relative's death, but he told them it could not because the law regarding neglect did not cover tourists on holiday.